are probably left all over the place. All right, so the first thing we're going to actually do is we are going to draw the character Tex. And I would like to draw Tex right in the corner right here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make just a little hill here for Tex to stand on. So nothing fancy, just a little hill down here at the bottom. And I know some people are coming in late. So I just want everybody to kind of catch up real quick, just for that straight line. So here we go. I'm going to start off right about 2 inches, 3 inches off the line. And I'm going to put in my eyes. Then I'm going to put in my nose, just like that. So I got my eyes, circle, come back around. Now, one thing I didn't do, which I usually remember, but I did this time, is whenever you're drawing on a bumpy surface like this, you always want to make sure that you put like a pad or several sheets of paper under what you're drawing, because right here, this little bump right here came from a bump in my workbench, which has a ton of holes in it. I nail things on here and all sorts of things, so there's a lot of holes. So make sure you're drawing on a book or a tablet. One of these drawing tablets is really the best thing you could possibly get. Now, this is for watercolor, but you could probably get just a regular drawing tablet, which is like literally $3 or $4. And when I do a drawing class in school, I always try to encourage my kids to get one. It's very easy to take places, and if you have downtime or if you need to practice, it's nice to have a dedicated drawing book. I have 3 or 4 of them. I have one at school, I have one here, I have a business one. You know, having drawing pads is a very, very good idea. So let's get back to our cowboy. All right, so here comes the fun part. Under his nose, or on the side of his nose, we're going to draw a mustache, just like that. I think it's called a handlebar mustache, and I really wish that I could grow one. But if you guys know me, I have a problem with growing hair on my head, so that's not going to happen. Put a little open mouth down here. And of course, if you want to add a voice to this cowboy, you could say, "Hey there, cowboy. This town ain't big enough for the both of us, so I'm going to leave." Tex is kind of a coward. He talks a tough game, but he's not really that big a deal. So his ears go kind of even with his eyes. And then I want to give him a great big chin. And I linked from the bottom of the ear to the bottom of the ear. And we're going to kind of give him a double chin. Maybe he needs to lay off the sarsaparilla. Very, very easy so far. Nothing's terribly difficult. Now, next thing we're going to do is his hat. And his hat can be as complicated or as easy as you want. I've seen a couple different styles of hats. I'm going to try a new one today. I'm going to try a new one. Almost as if it looks like he has a banana going through his head. And now it doesn't. Now it looks like a perfect cowboy hat. So kind of like this banana shape. And then a nice big dome. And then a couple dents in his hat right there. It's a cool style of cowboy hat. Tex is looking awesome right now. So for his hair, I'm just going to give a couple W's here because I'm not too worried about his hair. Now let's go ahead and do the rest of him. So I'm going to give him kind of like one of those handkerchief ties. So it's kind of like a knot. I have some people who say they want to see my dog smile. She's outside right now. So I'll have to go get her later. Now the other part that I want to show you is I want to get his arms up high like he's going to draw as far as his guns go. And of course he probably just has squirt guns because he's not a very lethal cowboy here. So I'm going to kind of come up like this with his hands. As if he's ready to say, okay, man, I've had enough of you. Draw. And of course, we are drawing. Come down to the sides like that. And when you want to make his hands look like he's drawn, I put his hands out like this. Now, somebody always asks me, how come cartoons that you draw, how come they only have 4 fingers? And, like I said the other day, cartoons don't need 5 fingers because they're cartoons. Maybe put a collar on there, make him look fancy. Now his legs are going to come out because he's been riding a horse all day. So he's going to be a little bit bow-legged. And that is just an upside down U. A big fat upside down U. And his boots I'm going to make very simple. That there is a good-looking cowboy. His arms are a little off-centered or a little different sizes, but that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put his belt on. And on his pants, I'm going to give him like a cow pattern. And obviously when I color this, I'll leave the inside of this white. And then I'll paint these splotches black so it'll look like he has like literal cow chaps on, I guess you could call them. Don't forget his spurs. Gotta have his spurs. And they just need to be little stars. So you can draw his guns. You don't have to draw his guns if you're not a big fan of that stuff. It'd be kind of funny if he wants people to draw and then he doesn't have any guns. That's the type of cowboy that Tex is. All right, so Tex is pretty much squared away. He looks pretty solid. Let's go ahead and open this back up a little bit here. And let's do some stuff in the background. All right. So I looked at a lot of desert backgrounds and I got some cool ideas, but quite honestly, the one that I did a long time ago is still one of my favorites to do. So I'm honestly going to do the one that I did. So let's go ahead and start off by making some other hills here. So some nice big wavy hills in the background. And we're going to kind of make this desert not necessarily look like the Sahara Desert with great big dunes of sand, although you could do that. I'm going to make this desert look more like the deserts in Arizona, where there used to be like oceans and seas and lakes and all sorts of stuff. And we have these really, really cool mesas and all sorts of cool rock formations. So one of the cool rock formations that I saw is one that kind of looks like this, where it's basically a stone arch. So I'm going to make this kind of stone arch right here. It actually looks a lot like our cave that we did yesterday when we were doing our underwater scene. And then what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to kind of draw some lines going like this. Now these are called contour lines because they're showing kind of how the rock is shaped. It's rounded. It's not a flat wall. It's rounded. So that right there already looks pretty good. And then once we color it and we shade the inside a little darker than the outside, it's going to give it that three-dimensional look on it. And then the other one I want to do is back here, and it's like that almost column that you see where it has like a rock sitting on top of it. And a lot of Westerns have this in it. I think like if you watch the movie Cars, you can see some of these too. And then it kind of just goes up like this and down. Just like that. And then we're going to come around and go here. And then maybe way in the back, I'll draw one of those mesas. And those have the lines around them too. All right, so the last thing I'm going to do for the background is I'm just going to put some just mountains kind of in the background, because there's a lot of negative space on this, and I'm aware of that. There. Now we got some cool mountains in the background. Someone said you can see stuff like this in Colorado too. All right, let's do some cactus. Because when you're talking about the desert, we're talking about cactus. Cactus are super easy. You can do, there's a lot of different types of cactus, but I like to do this type of cactus. So I'm going to start a cactus right down here in the corner. And I guess I'll zoom in on this. Although I don't think it's too tough to see. I'm going to zoom in anyway. Sorry about that. I was getting a phone call. So I'm going to draw a couple rocks so it doesn't look like the cactus is just popping out of the ground. And very easily, I want you guys to follow my pencil here. Come up, come out, and think of it kind of like a balloon. It looks very balloony. I don't even know if that's a word, but I just used it. So for us, it's a word. Somebody is really trying to call me. And of course, we're going to give the cactus its spikes. Which, if you're a science geek, these are modified leaves, actually. Water is a very hard resource to come by in the desert, so the cactus has to protect its resource. It's got to protect all its water. And then on the top over here, I just want you to put a couple circles, because we're going to color those, and that's going to give it a little pop of color. So sweet. That cactus right there is one of the nicest cactus I've ever seen. Tex is psyched. Tex is psyched. Now we want this to make sure people understand this isn't a desert that you mess around with here. This desert is legit. So we're going to draw a skull. Down here. So make nice big dark eyes, obviously. We'll put some nose here, and then obviously we'll put the horns. Maybe a crack or two in the skull. Love that detail. Love it, love it, love it. Gotta have a skull. Gotta have one. You're talking about a desert here. So we can go into a couple other spots here and put a couple more details in here. Obviously, you want to put some rocks. So when we're talking about desert, obviously, that's a great way to fill up negative space, is to put your rocks in there. Some rocks. I'm going to put a couple more cactus in here, and I'm going to change the shape. Now, as I put the cactuses in the background, they are going to be obviously a lot smaller. So when I get to my cactus like in the back, they're just going to be like stalks, basically. Yee-hoo! Yeah, man. That is one nice looking cowboy. These cowboys don't play around. Now there's like these smaller cactus. They're kind of like, they might even be called a ball cactus. I don't even know. But they usually have like this cool pink flower on it. And that'll be cool to color in. And then maybe some aloe vera plants or some Magarys plants. And they look like horns coming out of the ground. And then their flowers, I'm just putting kind of like bowling pins, like around a bowling pin on top. And that looks pretty cool. Woohoo! Yeah, man. Let's take a look at my cowboy here. I put a couple other cactus over here. Yeah, man. Woohoo! I got a couple compliments that was pretty sweet. A couple compliments the other day that were really nice from people. They said that their kids were redrawing some of the stuff that we'd done, or they were taking it back out and coloring it and stuff like that. Man, that's really good to hear. That's really good to hear. Not only does it keep them busy, but they're doing something constructive, which is even better. So there is our Cowboy. Zoom out just a little bit so we can see the whole thing. Let's go ahead and put a sun in the sky. And when we want to make a sun look like it's blazing, like it's super, super hot outside, like the desert, where it kind of should be, I like to wrap the sun in like some radiant waves here. Like the sun is just beating down. Like this is not a nice day. This is a very, very hot day. And obviously we can make it look even better when we start throwing some color on here. But since it's black and white, these are kind of like some good cartoon animation techniques. Then we want to put some birds who are very interested in Tex's demise. So I'm going to put several birds in the background. And again, those are super easy. We're just making some V's, some wide open V's. Very, very cool way to fill in negative space. At least I think it is. Now we still have a lot of negative space in here, so don't be afraid to pipe in some more cactuses or cacti. I'm going to pipe in a scorpion. You guys want to do a scorpion? Now, I could do a cartoony scorpion, but I want to keep perspective, so I don't want to make it too big. So I'm going to put this scorpion right here as if he's coming to get Tex. Someone asked me if we could do a camel. We'll do a camel another day. We're not really going to see a camel in the Midwest of the United States. So we'll do a camel a little bit later. So here is a scorpion. Scorpions are really simple. Cool. So I just start with a big body up front, get smaller and smaller and smaller, and then for the tip of the stinger, make it bigger with a little loop, which is the business end of the scorpion, which you do not want. 1, 2, 3, and then we'll give him some nice big claws. Some pinchers. You ever draw something and you're just like, wow, that's actually pretty good. I'm pretty sure I just nailed my scorpion. That is a very good scorpion. Tex is very psyched about it. Pretty cool. So, this turned out to be a pretty good desert drawing. I don't think there's anything here that's too difficult. Text might take a little bit of practice, but look, even if you could tell, even when I was doing it, the arm sizes are really out of shape. I'm standing up while I'm drawing, so for me it's a little bit different. I got to get used to doing that. So I'm kind of making some mistakes that I wouldn't normally make. You can also, on Tex's face, give him like a little 5 o'clock shadow beard by just putting dots on his face. And this makes him look a lot more rough and tough because he hasn't been able to shave. And this is the way he should look. Nice big mustache. Actually, he looks like that guy in the diabetes commercials. Diabetes. Wilford Brimley, I think his name is. Pretty cool cat. Love Tex. So what I would do for this, to color this, is I would go ahead and use lots of browns, lots of yellows. Go ahead and maybe work on your blending up here. I would go yellow, orange, red. And if you guys want to come back on Monday, I've had a lot of people ask to color stuff. I'll tell you what, let's come back together on Monday. Tomorrow I'm going to take a day off. Tomorrow we'll come back on Monday and we will try to color this. Okay. One last thing, someone asked me if we could draw a cartoon fox. So let's see what I can find here to draw a cartoon desert, like a desert fox. Desert foxes are cute because they have like really, really big ears. They're kind of scrawny. Obviously, pickens are kind of slim in the desert. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. All right, we're going to try this one out. So let's put our desert fox right by this skull down here. We'll put him right between. As someone who wants to check out the coloring the ocean too, well, maybe we can do that. Maybe we can just take a day and we could color some pictures, knock them out. Coloring is a good way to burn up some time too. All right, so here is a kind of a desert fox. All right, I'm going to start off by making my eyes. And his snout comes out a little bit more. And I'm going to put kind of like a ball nose on his head just because I think it's funny. He's got really big ears. And he's got a pretty big bushy tail, I guess you could say. Do the inside of his ears. It's good detail. Give him some eyebrows looking up. Give him some whiskers. He's really not sure what to make. So he's kind of bunched up right here, but I kind of used up a lot of room. So there's kind of a desert fox, I guess. Maybe not the best fox in the world, but he's okay. So if you guys are interested, oh good, you guys liked him. Oh yay. I wasn't sure if you guys were going to like him because I think that might be the first fox I've ever drawn. So I'm just kind of doing the best I can here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I would like you guys to put in some more cactus here, put them in various sizes. Remember, if they're toward the background, you want to make them kind of silhouette. I mean, we can go back over them with a green or whatever marker or crayon or whatever you're using, but you don't want to put a whole lot of detail on stuff that's way in the back because you're just barely seeing it. So I'm going to work on this a little bit before we get to Monday. Maybe put in some more cactus, maybe put in some rock formations and stuff like that. But for the most part, I think this looks pretty good. I think you guys did a nice job today. I will, if you guys are interested, I will go ahead and put this up so you guys can copy it if you would like to. Maybe I'll just put like a little mesa action in the background just to give it a little bit more detail. There. Now we kind of have like a more, you know, we have the foreground, kind of the middle ground, the background, and then the background. So, yeah, so I'm going to take a break tomorrow, so no tomorrow. And we'll try to get back together on Monday. So have mom, dad, or whoever start checking their Facebook and look for the next time that we draw together. All right? All right, guys, I'm going to sign off. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good day.